Greetings everyone, hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Let's get right back into another Pathfinder build. And first and foremost, let me apologize. This is going to be a little bit shorter than some of my other builds. I'm only going to be able to get up to level 14 and the level 5 Mythic Path as opposed to 17 and 6 the way I usually would. And that's because, as I mentioned in my last video, the beta update is coming out and I'm cutting this playthrough short because I don't want to be in a situation where all of a sudden it drops and my saves get cleared and I'm not able to do this video. So this build and the Aeon overview video that'll be coming up next will be a little bit shorter compared to the other ones. But of course, when the full game releases, I will do full build videos and full breakdowns of all the mythic paths. So when the update comes out, I've decided I actually want to go down the Aeon Mythic Path, and I want to do it with a Hellknight. I really love the role-playing aspect of being a Hellknight and an Aeon at the same time. And of course, Areelu is one of your party members, so there's a nice back and forth with him due to you being a Hellknight as well. And I'm really looking forward to doing that with all of you. So let's get into the build and break down how I plan to approach this. Going to be an orc, and of course, since you're a Hellknight, we might as well go with the lore. Started with an armiger, half orc, specifically because of the +2 persuasion bonus they get on intimidation checks. We'll go with guard as the background. 18 on strength, 16 on constitution, and 14 on charisma. Now for skills, you definitely want persuasion. I would say you definitely want perception. Now the rest, you can kind of decide what you want to do. You could go athletics because you're building up strength, but you're also wearing heavy armor. So it's kind of cumbersome to have to take off your armor every time you need to complete a difficult athletics check. Lore nature is also a good option. There aren't a lot of party members that specialize in this, but you're also not building up your wisdom at all. So it's not like you're going to be able to get the sky high numbers that some other people might be able to get. So your choice may vary. You also absolutely have to get knowledge arcana so that you can go ahead and get Hellknight at rank 6. Weapon focus. I'm going to go ahead and go with a Bardiche. Hope that's correct pronunciation. Order of the Godclaw, just because it's also Areelu's order. Iwari. Lawful evil. You can of course pick whatever face you want. I go with Grumpy. At level 2, go ahead and choose Power Attack as your feat. At level 3, pick up Cleave. Bump up Strength on level 4 and continue to increase strength. At level 4, get Dazzling Display. At level 5, get Intimidating Prowess, two-handed weapon training. Then at level 6, you should be able to switch over to Hellknight. So now as a Hellknight, you only have 2 skill points. Definitely want to bump up Persuasion. And then again, I personally go with Perception. You can choose whatever you like. At level 7, get Cornic and Smash. And then at level 8, the Hellknight starts getting Force of Will options. I would take Charm first. You also get different discipline options. I would take Fearsomeness first. At level 9, take Shattered Defenses. And at level 11, take Dreadful Carnage. Take Fear for your next Force of Will. And then take Charm again. For your discipline, take Onslaught. At level 13, take Weapon Specialization Bardiche. At level 14, for your Force of Will, take Charm. And then Charm again. And then for your discipline, take Censor. Okay, so now that we went through all of the levels, let's go ahead and build up your mythic abilities. Mythic level 1, take Force Reality, and then take Ever Ready. Mythic level 2, take Power Attack Mythic. Mythic level 3, choose Aeon, and then choose Leading Strike. You then get a list of Enforcing Gaze options. I would take Save DC. At Mythic level 4, I get Weapon Focus. At Mythic level 5, get Mythic Charge, and then for Enforcing Gaze, go ahead and get Attack. Okay, so now that we've done all the leveling up, let's go over the choices that I've made and why I made them. As I mentioned before, I chose Orc because they get a bonus to intimidation checks, which is going to be very useful for this build. They also get Orc Ferocity, which means that they're brought to 0 hit points but not killed. An Orc can fight on for 1 more round. This doesn't really work all that well in real time, but in turn-based, it is huge. It means even when he's killed, he's really just going to stay up, and then it'll give the healer the opportunity to get him back into the fight. So really, really nice. So as you can see here, we went into Dazzling Display so that we could unlock Cornigan Smash, which basically allows you to make a intimidation check as a free action every time you're able to hit an enemy with a power attack. And then we also get Dreadful Carnage, which allows you to do the same thing to the entire room if you're able to actually kill an enemy. This is really nice because in most classes, if you're able to successfully do this, it'll shake the enemy, which lowers its defenses and makes it harder for it to attack you. But because you're a Hellknight, you get access to the discipline Fearsomeness, which means every time you use your persuasion skill to cause a creature to become shaken, you can make it frightened instead. Very powerful, because then enemies will run away from you, triggering attacks of opportunity, and it allows you to get some natural crowd control. Also, I feel like this works much better in turn-based than it does in real time. In real time, these enemies that are frightened are running all over the place, and they could potentially run into other rooms, draw more people to you, and it's actually more of a headache. But in turn-based, there's only so far they can go. And then your entire party has an opportunity to take that enemy out. So it's much more manageable and actually very, very powerful. Also, we selected Cleave so that if you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies, you'll potentially have the opportunity to hit all of them, giving you more opportunity to trigger Cornigan Smash or Dreadful Carnage. And because we're going to be charging right into the fray, that's why it's good to get Ever Ready. This allows us to make more attacks of opportunity, and you get a bonus to your attack and damage when you're making attacks of opportunity. We also selected some other mythic talents to increase our damage and ensure we'll be able to trigger these effects. Power Attack gives you a +5 to damage since we're using a two-handed weapon. Leading Strike is going to give us a 1d6 mark per mythic rank on our target, so at this time it would be 5d6. And then Mythic Charge is going to give us an additional 1d6 per mythic rank of divine damage on a particular target. You should be charging into enemies quite a bit, so this makes sense. The other Hellknight disciplines we selected is Onslaught, which is going to allow you to get a +4 bonus to your strength for 1 round. It also increases your base speed by 10 feet. So if you know you need to especially hit an enemy, kill an enemy, or you're hoping that maybe there are 3 or 4 enemies right around you and you want to hopefully hit all of them, it's good to go ahead and be able to trigger this as a free action. And then we also have Censor, which means that every time we use Smite Chaos on a creature, there's a chance that we'll be able to mute it. Very powerful against some spellcasters, of course. You'll notice that we went ahead and skipped the wolf, which becomes a Hellhound. They word it in a way where it's very enticing, but in practice, it's garbage. That wolf dies in 1 hit, maybe 2. It does very little damage. You basically throw it out there as a distraction, and frankly, there are better ways to create distractions if that's what you really need. It's just absolutely garbage. I hope that's something that they improve upon before the full release. Now, because we selected Aeon, there's actually a ton of things we get immunities to. So you're going to be immune to poison, disease, confusion, bleed, mind-affecting effects, and ability damage. So again, you're supposed to be that person who rushes right in, takes all the heat, and should just stand right in the thick of things. You also get the ability to put the Bane quality on your weapon, which means you're going to get a +2 enhancement bonus on top of whatever bonus you already have, and you'll deal an additional 2d6 damage against enemies. You get access to this for a specific amount of rounds per day, and when you have the Bane quality activated, your weapons will automatically dispel effects from your target. And then in addition, you have 2 Enforcing Gazes. One of them increases the saving throws for your ally spells while decreasing the saving throws for your enemy spells, and then the other one does the same thing for attack. Mind you, the portion of these abilities that affects your allies will always work. The portion of this that affects enemies requires them to fail a saving throw in order for the effect to take place, and oftentimes they will be able to succeed on their saving throws. You also get Rectify State as an Aeon, which allows you to use Greater Dispel on your allies. So if you need to remove things like confusion or something of that nature, it becomes very easy for you to do. And then finally, sometimes Force Reality is really nice. Every enemy in a 30-foot radius is affected by a Greater Dispel magic spell, affecting only the effects of the Illusion School. I really like this because there are a ton of enemies that use Mirror Image, and Force Reality will strip all of that right off them. And then even though you're a Hellknight, there are a couple of nice Aeon spells that you'll probably want to make use of. Crystal Mind. You dispel rage, fear, emotion, confusion, and morale effects, and give the target immunity to fear and emotion effects for 1 round per mythic rank. And then at level 3, you have Relativity. You make the flow of time favor allies and disrupt opponents' actions. Your allies gain the benefits of the haste spell effect, while enemies are affected by the slow effect. And then finally, Starlight. You create an area of starlight around yourself. All invisibility effects on enemies in the area are suppressed, and attacks against your allies in the area suffer from a 20% mischance. Okay, so here's an example of how this works in a fight that can be difficult at this point in the game. You have some of the standard buffs you would probably put on your character: heroism, a protection from arrows, things of that nature. Going up against this character, I can put Smite Chaos on him to increase my potential for attack and my damage. And you know what, just to make sure I hit, I'll go ahead and turn on Onslaught as well. Get that +4 on strength. And then hit him. Ooh, wow, that actually turned out even better than I thought it would. If we go ahead and look through the log, I activated Smite Chaos, Onslaught, and Cleave. Hit the boss, dealt 173 damage to the boss, and immediately attempted to do an Intimidate check, which succeeded. My modifiers were 43, so even though I only rolled a 4, it was vastly more than enough to overcome the difficulty check for an Act 4 boss character. I also was able to, I had enough reach to hit this Marlith Conqueror and dealt 55 damage to that creature as well. And then we do Intimidate checks on everybody around us. So the Conqueror is immune to being shaken, but these other people around here, I was able to intimidate with no problem. And as you see, we are completely decimating any difficulty checks they have. Even without the roll, I have more than enough to be able to overcome them. And that's a combination of us taking Intimidating Prowess, which allows your Strength modifier to be added to your Persuasion skill, and also, of course, because we have our Strength sky high. And so this build is very simple to use and very effective. Finally, I figured I'd go ahead and go through some of the items I have so you all have an idea of how you could build this character. The only difference is when I went through the actual game, I actually used a glaive instead of a bardiche, so I don't know what the high-level ones are, but I know I've definitely sold some +3 and maybe even one +4 version of that weapon, so they're plentiful. You shouldn't have any problems finding them. Otherwise, I wanted some more initiative. I got half the pair, which gives you a +2 circumstance bonus on attack rolls and AC, and then I gave Regal the other version of this necklace. Got Adamantine full plate +3. Adamantine just gives you some damage resistance, if I remember correctly. Right, gives you some additional protection. +4 bonus on strength. And it's an enhancement bonus, so this does not conflict with the bonus that you get from Onslaught. Precious Gloves gives me a bonus to persuasion skill checks. And then every time I do a critical hit, my enemy suffers a -2 penalty on saving throws against mind affected conditions for 2 rounds. And then my athletic skill bonus is added to the damage roll on a successful charge attack. Enemies, when I critical hit them, must pass a will saving throw or become unable to attack for 1 round. Ring of Protection, and then this is a +5 competence bonus on persuasion checks, and it gives all my companions a +1 morale bonus on all their skill checks. Right, so this one is just a +2 bonus on persuasion. This is a +5 competence bonus, so they don't conflict. And then I have a cloak of resistance giving me a +4 to all saving throws. Oh, and I'm sorry, I do have a shirt I've been using. There we go. Oh, I can't equip it right now, but I do have a shirt that gives me immunity to nauseated and +3 bonus on saving throws against acid, along with the actual weapon that I'm using, a +3 that upon a critical hit, all enemies in the area, or all creatures actually in the area, suffer 2d8 +4 sonic damage, which to me goes along with being an Aeon. All of you should be strong, even my companions. You should be able to take the hit. If you can't, get off my team. And that is the build. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Is this something that you would use? Is there a way that I should have improved upon it? Are you planning to play an Aeon? If so, what class are you hoping to combine with it? Looking forward to hearing all of your comments and your feedback. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this with anyone else that you know who might be interested in Pathfinder content. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.